Highway Code Rule 178. Advanced stop lines. Some signal-controlled junctions have advanced stop lines to allow cyclists to be positioned ahead of other traffic. Motorists, including motorcyclists, must stop at the first white line reached if the lights are on amber or red, and should avoid blocking the way or encroaching on the marked area at other times. For example, if the junction ahead is blocked. If your vehicle has proceeded over the first white line at the time that the signal goes red, you should stop as soon as possible and must stop at the second white line. Allow cyclists, including any moving or waiting alongside you, enough time and space to move off when the green signal shows. Drivers of large vehicles should stop sufficiently behind the first white line so they can see the whole area where cyclists may be waiting. Allow for any blind spot in front of the vehicle. Now, that sounds quite straightforward. So why do so many people have problems with it? There are a number of safety aspects to advanced stop lines, and these are obviously going to benefit cyclists. They effectively give cyclists a head start and allow them to clear the junction first, which should, in theory, reduce the risk of conflict with other motor vehicles. They should make cyclists more visible to motorists. They can also help cyclists position to turn right without having to cross or fit in with a stream of traffic. They should also help prevent the cyclist from being left hooked. The actual effectiveness of these benefits is probably less than hoped for because of the amount of motorists who encroach into this box. Why does this happen? As normal, impatience is the main reason for this problem, because people are always in that rush to get ahead. They use the cycle box to get a head start over other motorists. This includes large numbers of motorcyclists and scooters who think it's okay for them to use the box, but they're not cyclists. You can often see both sets of drivers, if there are two lanes, edging forward to get that advantage at the traffic light Grand Prix. At the end of the day, this is only going to be neutralised at the next set of lights, so it's absolutely pointless. Another reason for people not stopping at the first white line is probably a lack of knowledge. As we've alluded to many times on this channel, people rarely keep up to date with the highway code, present company excluded, but I reckon there's a big percentage of people who literally don't realise that they must stop at that first white line. We're also going to have a large proportion of people who literally don't care, and this is probably down to the extreme low possibility of being reported for this offence. This is probably down to the rules, which offer an exemption. If the lights do change late, rather than braking suddenly, they say it's safer to stop in the box to reduce the risk of being rear-ended. So where should you stop? Well, this is my take on it and why. Jesus. That weren't the best, was it? Like with any stopping at a line in front, I always stop. I think we're going to be able to do it here because these people want to use it. I stop so that first line disappears. Now, my reasoning for that is quite important. It gives me a better view of side to side, but it also gives me room to manoeuvre if an emergency service vehicle comes. I've got a car length, and that's probably what it is. It's a car length between myself and that first line, so I've got a little bit of shuffle room. It's also a benefit when or if you got hit from behind, there's less chance of going into that area, and that's exactly the same whether it's a pedestrian crossing like I've just stopped at, or whether it's a cycle area, or whether it's just a normal set of lights with maybe a pedestrian crossing area just after. There are things with advanced stop lines that some cyclists could do with improving their habits with. These areas can encourage some cyclists to get to them by any means, and that often means weaving in and out of traffic dangerously. This is also something else that I've observed. Even though lorry drivers should be keeping well back from these areas, like it says in the highway code, to make sure all cyclists could be visible, sometimes they don't. When a cyclist sees this though, you should hold back and not try to get to that front, because if you do go in that area, you're putting yourself in the lorry's blind spot, and that's really dangerous. Although the effectiveness of these areas is questionable. Even in the Netherlands, where they originated, these areas are virtually becoming extinct. Motorists should think about the cyclist safety and stop before the first white line. Although they are an easy but possibly lazy form of cycling infrastructure, if motorists did as they should, they would reduce the risk. Are you one of those drivers who constantly goes in those areas? Because if you do, you need to change your habits. Keep safe everyone, and I'll see you soon.